It is now my privilege to introduce you to a dedicated and passionate mom who has been part of the Sark family for over 7 years. Please welcome to the stage, Christine Badoux.
Thank you, Amy. I used to fear autism. I feared it so much in the early days when my son Alex was first displaying symptoms that I threw everything I had at it and at him because I desperately hoped we'd be able to outrun it. What I didn't know is that everything we were doing to outrun it was exactly what we needed to be doing to embrace it. I wish I knew that when Alex was 18 months old, and I walked into the office of his first speech pathologist, and I noticed she had a concerned expression on her face. She then bravely looked at me and said, "I am really sorry, but I think you need to have Alex evaluated for autism." It was a painful message to receive, but not entirely surprising, because ever since Alex's first birthday, I had been searching for answers as to why language just seemed to be passing him by. I had truly hoped that a receptive and expressive speech and language delay would be our complete answer, but it wasn't. So we went home, called the developmental pediatrician, and anxiously awaited our appointment. A few days later, I found myself wandering into a store, and I had Alex with me. I was still very much in a daze and feeling pretty empty. Alex, on the other hand, was his usual gregarious self. He was in a stroller, he was playful and smiling, and he caught the attention of an older gentleman. And that gentleman walked over to us, and they interacted for a moment. And then that gentleman said to me, "You know, I think this boy is very smart." He then took $1 out of his pocket and he handed it to me. And he said, "I'm a retired college professor, and I want this boy to go to college one day. So you take this $1 and put it away for him because you need to start saving now." I walked out of that store and out of that week with 3 important lessons. 1, as a parent of a child on the autism spectrum, there would be painful and challenging times. 2, there would also be times of tremendous kindness and hope. And 3, both would inspire us to take action for our son. That was 8 years ago. Alex is now 9 years old, and I'm happy to say in many ways he's doing well. He's in 3rd grade, he's mainstreamed, he's able to go to the same school as his 11-year-old sister, Isabelle. He participates in after-school clubs, and he enjoys time with family and friends. So while autism is still very much part of his daily life, on a lot of days it's more of an, "oh, by the way," than a struggle. Alex was fortunate because when he was diagnosed, we had a number to call. We had qualified and committed professionals right here in our own city. We had to knock on a lot of doors to make sure his needs were met, but I am very humbly aware of the fact that we had doors to knock on, and that the door to Sark was one of the most important for our family. We chose Sark because we knew we were bringing in the best possible coach for Alex, for myself, and for our entire family. Despite making progress in a variety of therapies, it became evident that Alex needed intensive behavioral therapy. So he was fortunate enough to receive intensive behavioral therapy from Sark in our home and in his school for 4.5 years. And I received ongoing parent training for that same period of time. Truthfully, there were times it was exhausting. But it was absolutely worth it because it was also empowering. As a parent, I wanted solutions so much more than I wanted sympathy. I had tremendous faith in my son's potential, but I also had the overwhelming fear that the clock was ticking and we had to make every moment count. So it wasn't enough just to send Alex to school and put him in therapy. We needed to choose the most effective and impactful ones. I'm incredibly grateful to say that the well-trained professionals from SARC showed up and delivered what they promised. And they worked tirelessly and diligently to do so. But that's just my memory of our time with SARC. And I think it's equally important that I share Isabelle and Alex's memories with you. So I asked them, and Alex said, I remember that they taught me really cool things in really cool ways. Like what? I said. You know, Mom, like speech and stuff. Isabelle said, I remember that they included me, not all the time, but a lot of the time. That meant the world to me, because as the parent of a special needs child, I desperately wanted to ensure that my daughter knew her needs were every bit as special. I'm incredibly grateful that SARC valued Isabelle as an important member of the team and a peer role model, because by allowing Alex to receive his therapies in a natural, home-based setting that included both of my children, I felt like we could invest in his future without losing so many precious moments in the present. So, will Alex go to college one day? I don't know, because how can the mother of a 9-year-old say for sure? But I can tell you this, he's an avid reader. He loves history. And he tells me that he can't wait to go to college and live in the dorms because every day it's gonna be like a big sleepover party. So at the moment, I am less concerned about him getting to college and more concerned about him getting to class when he does. I don't know the future, but I don't fear autism anymore. Instead, thanks to a tremendous amount of support and intervention, I can say, my son has autism, but autism no longer has him. Thank you. It is now my privilege to introduce an inspiring and innovative program that's making a difference for people on the autism spectrum and for our community as a whole. So please turn your attention to the screens to learn more about SARC's Community Works program.